Hello. So what we're going to be looking at is how do we manage our files for Lightroom. Here's our catalog. Essentially, you can see the name LRC, see Jumpstart Catalog. So this is the one we're using in class. The catalog folder has a little red dot so we can find it easily. We have an image vault folder and another folder called import these. We have 1, 2, 3 raw files outside the image vault, and there's a reason for that, which we're going to be looking at some point, probably soon. So I'm going to open up the catalog folder, and what we have are Lightroom settings. So this is how it remembers any develop presets that we may have under user presets and so forth. There's export, etc., etc., etc. So there's a lot of excuse me, Lightroom settings that are saved and stored associated with the catalog. Under Image Vault, what we have is one, two, three, four images directly, and then we also have a folder called HDR, and I have two other subfolders in here with images. I also have an interior panel with three more images in here. Then I have a import these with one, two, three, four, five additional images. So we have a lot of images inside this catalog. Let's see what happens when we launch. So I'm going to double click on catalog.lrcat, Lightroom catalog. Double click it. We launch. And here's our window. And if we look down at the film strip, you should be able to see that we do have four images showing up. Sorry, I'm going to click and drag so we can see them a little bit easier. And I am just clicking on the bar. Hopefully you can see where I'm clicking right here. When I have a double-headed arrow up and down, then I can make the film strip smaller or larger, which makes our loop view larger and smaller as well. I've already got it set up for my personal taste with three modules only showing in the upper right-hand corner. I have a little specialized moniker up here in the upper left that says for the E, and so that's what we're looking at. We are in the library mode, sorry, module, and so what we have are just this. We're looking at where's the image vault stored? Well, it's stored in this hard drive of mine, an external hard drive. And inside the image vault, there's only four images, and yet we have all these other images stored. And within the image vault, it does not include import these, does not include sand ripples, fill light, or harbor. But it does include HDR, simple, and interior panel. So we could have all these other things showing if we wanted to, but they're not showing right now. The reason is I did not include them when I made the initial catalog. One way to bring in images is called to synchronize the folder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to Image Vault. I'm going to right click on Image Vault and come down to Synchronize Folder. Synchronize Folder. When I do this, it's going to search for additional images inside my Image Vault folder. So any of the images that are inside here, it's going to try and find and bring in. What Lightroom is saying, import new photos, and in parentheses it says 10. And down here it also says scan for metadata updates. So this dialog box, it mainly just says synchronizing keeps your Lightroom catalog up to date with latest changes you have made to your photos in other applications. And I would add that if you have an image vault for personal catalogs and you're shooting with a DSLR or HDSLR, I recommend that you do not plug the camera into the computer and allow Photos app to touch them. Photos app is an Apple application. It hides the files from you. Can be difficult to find. It also changes them to JPEG when you're viewing. It also puts them in the iCloud, which means you have more storage taking place so that Apple can charge you for additional storage. So I do not like Photos at all. I'll use Photos on my phone, on my mobile device, in order to upload to Instagram. I find that's a better way to upload to Instagram because it gives you different additional features that Lightroom Mobile does not, even though I can upload to Instagram from Lightroom Mobile. That's another tutorial altogether. So, but by having a card reader, plugging your media from your DSLR or HDSLR into the card reader for the computer, then you can drag the images into your image vault and create a folder, just like I have this one called HDR, which we're going to be using in our class as a in-class tutorial. But it could read, um, family gathering, Easter 2019, whatever it says. This one can be a trip to Mazatlan 2020, etc., etc. So this way, on your actual hard drive, and this is your hard drive. The catalog, the initial catalog is on your hard drive. So you are pulling the images off of your camera's media and creating a folder, whatever it is, and dragging those images off of your card and putting them on your hard drive in a folder that says what they are. The purpose is you can easily find these images in your Finder. So if you want to go searching for them on your own, they're already been cataloged correctly for just visual finding and easy grabbing, printing, sharing, etc., etc. You don't have to open up Lightroom and go through it. But it's also a way to bring them into Lightroom to work them. There's another way to bring the images in that I'm going to talk about next. So for now, I'm just going to click on synchronize in Lightroom, and I need you to see what happens here in just a second. So with all that explanation, I actually want to back up and repeat. I'm going to click on cancel. How we got here was I clicked once on Image Vault here inside Lightroom. I right-clicked and went down to Synchronize folder. When I do, it looks for the additional images that has not already been brought into and ingested into Lightroom, and it tells me 10. I'm going to click on Synchronize. What I'd like for you to do is watch this left side where we have Image Vault, and pay attention also to what we have on our hard drive. So I'm going to click on Synchronize. Now what it's doing, it says importing files. And you can see now all of a sudden we have all these additional files, but look here, Image Vault, here's our HDR folder, here's our interior panel folder as well. So it's seeing not only the Image Vault, but it's seeing the internal folders as well, subfolders. And when we come back over here, HDR has a hard arrow. So when I open it, it also sees HDR plus CA and simple. And here's HDRCA and simple inside the HDR folder. So it recognizes folder hierarchy. It recognizes the images within each of the folders and pays attention to them. And so when we click on each of the folders that have been created here, we have a great organization of our all our images. And again, I highly recommend that you just plug the media card in through a card reader from your camera. Make a folder on your hard drive inside your own image vault, whatever you want to call it, and create a folder for whatever those images represent. Put them on your hard drive, and then if you wanted to, you can just simply synchronize. And if you notice the navigator right up here, updates with the top level image inside each of the folders, is what you're seeing up there. Um, but this is great for organization. Synchronization of our image vault folder is very, very simple, very, very direct. And so we can do this and not have a problem. Now what I want to also show you is if I come here and I'm going to close HDR and interior so we just have a simpler view here, and I can make this a little bit smaller. If I take an original image that we have here, and let me come over here. So I'm come back to here, and we're in grid view is what we have. So here is the brush and grad image .dng, just like what I show here. And let me down here under the near lower right of our window, I can make the thumbnails larger. So this is the one I'm talking about. But pay attention right up here, because what I'm going to do in my Finder is I'm going to move it from its current location to a different location to another folder. I'm going to drag it down and put it inside Import These folders. When I do that and come back into Lightroom, hopefully you can see that there's a little exclamation point right here. Oops. Just above where I'm clicking, there's an exclamation point. That exclamation point says, sorry, this file I can't find. The reason why we have that exclamation point is because we moved a file in Finder, in other words, outside of the Lightroom environment. Once we ingest an image into Lightroom, it manages the files for us. It creates a whole hierarchy on how to find that folder. And it goes to hard drive, or actually it starts with your login, to the hard drive, to the external hard drive, to yada, 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 all the way down the line to where it's actually being found. So when you see this, that means you moved a file outside of Lightroom. And I could say that's a no-no. I recommend that you don't do it once you ingest images into Lightroom. But if I click on the exclamation point, it says it formerly was. Let's relocate it. So I'm going to relocate it. Now if I come into here, it shows me all the ones that are inside my image vault. But that folder is outside my image vault. So if I have to come back to my overall parent to import these, and here it is. Once I say select, then it's going to update. But also notice it shows me the folder of import these, but not all the images. Look at all the images inside import these. There's 1, 2, well, counting the one we just had, 3, 4, 5, and 6 images. But inside Lightroom, it only shows me the one because that's the only one that was missing. That's the only one that I said to locate. So it shows the folder where that one is located, but we have not imported these. So that's how powerful Lightroom is. Now, if I want to put these back into Image Vault and out of import these, I have to click inside the image area, not the frame, but the image area. If I click, hold, drag, I can put it inside the Image Vault where it was originally located and said moving file on disk, and that's what we're really doing. So I'm going to click on move. When I do that, it actually moves the files on my hard drive. I don't do it from the Finder. I do it from inside Lightroom. And now I don't have an issue with the file because there's no exclamation point, because Lightroom saw where I moved it. It rewrote its location, and everything is kosher as far as Lightroom is concerned. Said, cool, dude. So that's very important. Now my import these folder has 0. As you can see, no photos in folder. So I'm going to right click on that folder and say remove, or click on remove. Don't have to say it. So this way I can maintain my cleanliness of my folder hierarchy. What I'm going to do now is show you the difference between synchronization, which is easy, simple, very straightforward. I'm going to come down here, right below where I'm clicking. Hopefully you can see the green circles, and I'm going to click on import. When I do, we have a whole new window, and it's a horseshoe. It's an upside down horseshoe. Adobe uses upside down horseshoes. You got to start on the left, coming over on this side first, and it says select source up here. So we can actually look here for an easy way to find, but it gives us all of our hard drives. Then over here up in the center area, it says, what do you want to do? Do you want to just add? Do you want to move? You want to copy DNG? Well, we're going to add because we already have copied them from our camera's media into a folder on our hard drive inside our image vault, so we don't have to move or copy or anything along those lines. They're already there, so we just need to add them into our catalog. And then coming over here, it says, what do you want to do? Well, I want to add them to my catalog, just like what it says. Under build previews, I go 1-to-1. We could go minimum, etc., but I find that when I'm importing new images, I only want images that meet my personal criteria. One of them, very strongly, is, was this image supposed to be sharp where it was supposed to be sharp? So I review them at 1-to-1, which is 1 pixel of the image to 1 pixel of my monitor. So that's the perfect size to determine sharpness and location of sharpness. And if it's not sharp where I think I remember where I wanted it, I usually delete it. I'm not a hoarder. I don't keep images. Maybe I could use it later on. No, I'm pretty particular. So when I want sharpness, I want sharpness, and I want sharpness where I want sharpness. So I'll delete it. I don't want to be visually distracted by images that really don't meet my criteria. Also, right over here, we have don't import suspected duplicates. That's very important, because if Photoshop thinks you've already imported this, why import it twice? Because you may end up working 2 different images 2 different times in 2 different ways, and you're thinking you did something when you did do something, but it's not showing that you did something. I know that's confusing, but that's why I say don't import suspected duplicates. Also over here, you have apply during import. We could have development, different imports, which we'll get to later on, personal down here in user. But the biggest one we probably would have would be a copyright import, so that you can automatically on import apply your information, your name, your copyright, your copyright notice, essentially saying no no use without prior written permission, etc., etc., etc. And so I think that's a very important one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to new. And this is a huge difference in my mind between synchronization and import. Because now I can, and you can see right now it says untitled preset. So I'm going to say forward, and I'm going to hold down the option and tap the G key for the copyright icon, 2019. And now what I'm going to do is under IPTC, and this is more for, some of this is more for the journalism, but I'm going to say it is copyrighted, and in the copyright field I'm going to say forward, Lowcock, copyright, option G again, 2019, and it has to say all that. No use without prior written permission from copyright owner. So I have that. If I have a website, then I would put that in here. Creator, that's me for Lukak. Email, and I have an email. And so this is the basics that we need. We really don't need any of the other fields to fill out. So all I wanted was to add my copyright to each and every image as it imports. And so now I'm going to click on create. When I do, and I come back over here, it shows up for copyright 2019. Now for all the images that I'm going to select and import, that's going to be automatically applied, and I'll show you that once we come in. I'm going to click on import these, which is the purpose of this portion of it, and the title of the folder. I'm going to bring it in. And now I'm going to come down here to the lower right, and I'm going to click on import. So now I've imported these 5 images that were a part of these import these folder. Now it's not inside Image Vault, it's outside Image Vault. And you can see over here in Finder, it's outside Image Vault. Here's Image Vault, they're at the same level. So inside Lightroom, I can click and drag the folder and put it inside Image Vault, moving files on disk. So if you watch over here, watch this folder, and I come back over here and click on move, now it moves it inside Image Vault. So Lightroom knows exactly where we are. I'm going to tap the letter G to go to grid view, and there's 0 exclamation points. Okay, so working and we're moving files, creating we haven't created a folder yet, have we? So because we also have this one outside of everything, this image and this image and this image. So now if I come back in, I can command click on each of them. I can drag them inside Image Vault, and they're inside Image Vault. They're not going to show up, and I ask you why, because we have neither imported nor synchronized them into the folder. So import these, if I come over here and come all the way down, you can, sorry about the tapping of the microphone, you can see that I have copyright, and here's all my information. If I go to the images that I simply synchronized, it's not here. None of that is here. But watch this. If I come up to the top of metadata, and where I am, I have XF and IPTC, meaning it show me all of the fields within the metadata range. I can come just below it, right here. It says preset. It starts with none as default. If I go forward 2019, I can now have it. So it's not here because I didn't include that. I didn't include that, but I did include this one. So if I come back over to my folders, I click on the folder itself, command click on interior, come back over, and I go to preset for 2019. Sorry, I need to go command A to select all of them because I want to do all of the images within the folders. My fault. Now I go to none, which is the default, go to forward 2019. It says, do you really want to apply the metadata preset? And I'm going to click on all selected. Now, if I just single click on one, go all the way down, it has the copyright. So synchronize may have an extra step to apply that copyright, but that's an important issue. So, because even if when you post, you can tell the posting to hold your copyright, because maybe you don't want people to steal your images and use them as if they are their own and not yours. So there's the differences between import and synchronize, moving files inside and, sorry, got ahead of myself. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to synchronize folder to bring in those last three images. As you can see here, it says 3. I'm going to click on synchronize. Current import is where we're looking at. So here's those 3 files that were outside of everything that I drug inside the image vault, and they're not in a folder. And that's the bad part, because the only way to see them is to see them inside by clicking on the image vault folder. If they were in their own folder, then we could isolate them and see them differently or individually. So it's a little hard to find them sometimes, and I'm just clicking on the thumbnails right over here in the lower right section. And so I recommend using folders, not having images inside of outside of folders within here. So if I wanted to now in Finder, I'm going to shift click on brush down to harbor, then command click on the other 3, so I have a total of 7. Right click on them, I can create a new folder. And I'm going to name it Images Originally Outside a Folder. So I'm going to do that. Now I'm going to have exclamation points. Let me make the thumbnails larger again. And let's see, coming down, coming down, coming down. We have the exclamation points right here. Right above where I'm clicking, there's an exclamation point. Right above where I'm clicking, there's an exclamation point. So now I'm going to synchronize the image vault. It sees them. Once it's ready, I'm going to click on synchronize on the blue button right here. And it creates a new folder, images originally outside a folder. So now everything is within folders, everything is organized. I can find them not only inside Lightroom, but inside my hard drives in Finder. So it's really a beautiful way of organizing your images, organizing you so that you can find what you need when you want to find it, how you want to find it. Okay?